The sun was just beginning to fight its way through the thick jungle canopy. Thin shafts of golden light pierced the morning mist, like heavenly spears striking the damp earth below. Ajit was already awake, his senses on high alert. Every rustle of a leaf, every distant cry of a strange bird sent a jolt of electricity through him. He could feel the jungle breathing around him, a living entity that was both beautiful and deadly. He knew this place held secrets, and he was here to uncover the greatest of them all, following a path laid out by a man he had never met but deeply admired, his grandfather. He took a deep breath, the air thick with the smell of wet soil and blooming flowers. His heart pounded a steady rhythm against his ribs, a drumbeat of anticipation and a little bit of fear. This wasn't a game. The jungle didn't play fair. It demanded respect, and one wrong move could be your last. Ajit checked his gear methodically. His sturdy knife was sharp, his water canteen was full, and his compass was pointing true north. Most importantly, he clutched his grandfather's old leather-bound journal. Its pages were filled with faded ink, cryptic drawings, and clues that were his only guide. The journal was more than just a map. It was a connection to his past. His grandfather had walked these same paths decades ago, searching for the legendary Sunstone Temple. Now it was Ajit's turn to complete the quest. The first clue was simple yet ominous. Where the twin-headed serpent vine chokes the sleeping giant, your path begins. Ajit scanned the tree line, his eyes searching for the landmark. He felt a surge of adrenaline. The journey was officially starting. He was ready for whatever the jungle decided to throw at him today. With one last look at his small, makeshift camp, Ajit slung his pack over his shoulder and stepped into the dense undergrowth. The leaves and branches immediately closed in around him, swallowing the faint light of dawn. He was alone now, truly alone, with only his wits, his grandfather's words, and his own courage to rely on. The air grew heavier, more humid, and the sounds of the jungle intensified. It was a symphony of buzzing insects, chattering monkeys, and unseen creatures moving in the shadows. His adventure had begun. Ajit pushed deeper into the jungle, following the faint trail his grandfather had described. Giant, twisted vines looking exactly like twin-headed serpents were wrapped tightly around a colossal fallen tree, the sleeping giant. He had found the starting point. From here the terrain became treacherous. The ground softened, turning into a muddy swamp that tried to suck the boots right off his feet. He had to watch every single step. His grandfather's journal had warned him about the whispering quicksand, patches of ground that looked solid but were deadly traps waiting for the unwary. He used a long, sturdy branch to poke the ground ahead of him before each step, a classic survival technique. Several times the branch sank into the mud with a sickening gulp, confirming the hidden danger. The humid air was filled with the drone of 1,000,000 insects, some as large as his thumb. They buzzed around his head, a constant annoying presence. He swatted them away, his focus entirely on the path. The jungle was testing him, challenging his patience and his concentration. He knew that a moment of distraction could lead to a fatal mistake. After what felt like hours of careful progress, Ajit reached the edge of a deep chasm. A rushing river roared in the canyon below. The only way across was an old rope bridge, swaying dangerously in the wind. It looked ancient, with several wooden planks missing and the ropes frayed and worn. His grandfather's journal mentioned this bridge. "Trust the old ropes, but not with all your weight," the entry read. This was a test of nerve. He took a deep breath, trying to calm his racing heart before stepping onto the rickety structure. The bridge groaned under his weight. He moved slowly, carefully distributing his weight and holding onto the side ropes for dear life. He was halfway across when he heard a loud snap. One of the main support ropes gave way. The bridge lurched violently to one side, throwing Ajit off balance. He clung on desperately as the structure swung like a pendulum. Planks of wood splintered and fell into the roaring water far below. He was hanging on by his fingertips, the chasm yawning beneath him. This was it, a true test of survival. Hanging precariously over the abyss, Ajit's mind raced. Panic was his enemy. He had to think fast. He could feel his grip weakening. Looking up, he saw that the other main rope was still holding, but just barely. He couldn't go back, and going forward on the broken bridge was impossible. He had to improvise. With a huge effort, he started to swing his body back and forth, building momentum. It was a massive risk. If his timing was off, he would fall. He had to make it to the other side. He swung higher and higher, the wind whistling in his ears. Then, with a final, powerful push, he let go. For a terrifying second, he was airborne, flying through the air over the chasm. He landed hard on the rocky ledge on the other side, tumbling and scraping his arms and knees. He lay there for a moment, gasping for air, his body trembling with adrenaline. He was alive. He had made it. He looked back at the remains of the bridge as it finally broke apart and crashed into the river below. There was no turning back now. After catching his breath, Ajit noticed something carved into the rock face where he had landed. It was an ancient marker, a stone face with hollow eyes that seemed to watch him. Below it was a cryptic message etched in an old language he recognized from his grandfather's journal. It translated to, "The path of the brave is guarded. The choice you make defines your journey. Seek the one who waits in shadow." This was a new clue, one that hinted at a human element, not just natural dangers. Someone or something was waiting for him. He followed a narrow path leading away from the chasm, which soon plunged into a much darker, older part of the jungle. The trees here were enormous, their canopies so thick they blocked out almost all the sunlight. A chill ran down his spine. The air was still and silent. It felt like he had entered a sacred, forbidden place. Suddenly, a figure stepped out from behind a massive tree. It was a person draped in a dark, hooded robe, their face completely hidden in shadow. The figure stood silently, blocking his path, holding a long wooden staff. "You have come far, son of the explorer," the hooded figure said, their voice raspy, like stones grinding together. "But courage and strength are not enough to pass this point. Wisdom is the key that unlocks the way forward. The Sunstone Temple does not welcome the unworthy. You must prove your heart is as sharp as your mind." The Guardian pointed their staff down a narrow corridor formed by towering rock walls. At the end of the corridor stood a solid stone wall with 3 identical doors. "Choose your path," the figure commanded. "Only one leads onward. The others lead to your end." Ajit walked cautiously toward the doors, his eyes fixed on the strange symbols carved into each one. The first door had the symbol of a serpent, coiling and ready to strike. The second door showed a mighty eagle, its wings spread wide in flight. The third door was marked with a single dancing flame. Below each symbol was a riddle. The serpent's riddle spoke of cunning and secrets. The eagle's riddle praised strength and vision. The flame's riddle spoke of light, warmth, and the power of transformation. He knew this was a critical test. He stood before the 3 doors, the weight of the decision pressing down on him. Which one was correct? The serpent could represent the dangers he had faced. The eagle, his ambition to soar high and succeed. But then he remembered a specific warning his grandfather had written in the journal, a line he had read many times. "In the darkest of places, do not trust the beast of the ground or the king of the sky. Put your faith in the light that guides humanity, the fire that forged our will." His grandfather's wisdom echoed in his mind. The serpent represented the deceitful jungle floor. The eagle represented the pride that could lead to a fall. But the flame represented hope, knowledge, and purification. It was the light in the darkness. He felt a surge of certainty. His instincts, guided by his grandfather's experience, were telling him what to do. He turned to the third door, the one marked with the dancing flame, and placed his hand firmly upon the cold stone. This was his choice. "I choose this path," Ajit announced, his voice clear and steady. He pushed against the door of the flame. For a moment, nothing happened. He pushed harder, putting his full weight into it. With a low, grinding sound of stone scraping against stone, the heavy door began to move inward, revealing not a path, but an endless pitch-black darkness. A strange, warm wind rushed out from the opening, smelling of ash and ancient dust. It felt like standing at the mouth of a volcano. He had made his choice, and now he had to face the consequences, whatever they might be. He took one last look back. The hooded guardian was gone, vanished as silently as they had appeared. The dark jungle path he had just walked seemed to melt back into the shadows. The only way was forward, into the unknown blackness. He thought of his grandfather's quest and the promise he had made to himself to see it through. Fear was a natural feeling, but he couldn't let it control him. He had to trust his choice. He had to trust the flame. With his resolve hardened, he took a deep breath and stepped through the doorway. The moment his foot crossed the threshold, the stone door slammed shut behind him with a deafening boom, plunging him into absolute darkness. The floor beneath his feet gave way instantly. He was falling. He tumbled through the black void with no sense of up or down. It wasn't a short drop. He kept falling and falling, the warm wind rushing past him. Was this the end? Had he chosen wrong? Panic began to set in, but then he saw it, a faint orange glow far below him. It grew brighter and brighter, a fiery light at the bottom of the abyss. He was falling towards a chamber of fire. His adventure was far from over. It felt like it was only just beginning. He had passed the jungle trials, but now a new, more mysterious challenge awaited him in the heart of the earth. He braced himself for impact, his mind racing with questions. What was this place? What secrets did it hold? The darkness gave way to a blinding, fiery light as he plunged toward the chamber below. The story of his journey was not finished. There is more to come. Stay tuned for part 3, The Chamber of Fire.